Vita Toolkit training session about managing and working with groups. To find an existing group, there are a couple of ways of approaching this. From your main menu, when you're under the Search and Update Record area, you can either search using the Advanced Search option, and existing groups, including non-public ones, will be listed by the drop-down menu, so you can navigate directly that way. You can also get a set of results based on media type group from your Advanced Search. If you go back to the main menu, you can also go to recently added things in your top 100 records, and if you are working with groups, they will be flagged as such with the red text ahead of the name of the group that you've created, so you can navigate that way as well. Now, if you want to add a new group, the last thing you can do to find a group is to go to your main menu, under Manage Groups, Add or Update Record Group, and all of your groups will be listed here with information about them in terms of their settings, so how many records they include, whether or not they are a public group or a private group, i.e. non-public group, whether they have the ability to accept new items to them, or in the case of some, if you have a specific set of items that you want and that's all, you can have a closed group, whether or not the group is exclusive to your agency, or if you have it shared so that you can make that available to other people, other agencies throughout Vita. And if you are working with associate agencies, if you have one set up, then you'll have true under the associate agency column. False is the default. Associate agencies is a different topic. We can talk about that another time, or feel free to contact us. So these are ways of navigating to your groups. To add a new group, go to your main menu and open up the Add or Update Record Group option. Go to the bottom of that screen and type in the new group name. Click Go, and what you're taken to is the settings page, and this is where you can choose some of the settings that we talked about before, whether or not you want to share the group with other agencies so that other people can add and use that group to create their own collection of material, whether or not you want to have a closed list or an open list, meaning if I have a vertical file that is a finite number of files inside of a folder, and I know that there are 23 of them, and I do not want anybody to mix things up by adding to that file or that folder, in this case group, I could say that I want a closed list after I have those 23 items added to my group. If not, you can leave it open, it's not closed, and you can add as many as you like. It also means that people can then, over time, use your existing groups to bring together more collection items as they create them. If you're working with associate agencies, please contact us. We can certainly set that up. And then lastly, if you want to delete a group, the only time that you'll see this available is when there's nothing in the group. In order to delete a group record, you need to actually empty it. All of the items that you've assigned to that group need to be unassigned manually so that then you can delete that group record. It does have longer reaching fingers. So you've got a list of all the things that are in the group, and if there are no items in the group, you can delete it. There will be a delete button. So this is the settings screen. There's a new feature with groups because we wanted the group record to be a searchable item as well, because you may be describing a sub-collection within your collection, and so we created a full record option for groups, which means that group records they display in your results set, they display in your collection. They also are searchable, so if you add descriptive information, make sure that it's keyword heavy for good searching, and when people come to that group record, then they're opening up that basically folder of material so that they can explore the contents of that group. So you have, as with any full record, and I won't belabor going through the whole thing except to point out what is important for groups particularly, is whether or not you want the group record to display publicly. All of your items, if you add items to a group that's non-public, it simply will not show up that those items are grouped. So in some ways it doesn't make sense for that to be a non-public, but you may want it non-public until you're ready to have it discovered. So you can make it public or not public. The media type is predetermined. If you are working with a specific set of content in terms of media type, you can identify that as your secondary media type. Same thing with item type. Say you're working with postcards, you could enter postcards, and if that's exclusive to the group, or if it's postcards and photos. How about just photographs? There we go. And so on. You can edit your group name. If there's a creator of the group, or if the creator is consistent across all of your records, you can add a creator name and role, and so on. It may be that you've got things grouped by theme or subject, so you can add, maybe it's about heritage buildings in your area. Again, anything that describes the group, you can add that information here. A description is usually a good thing to add. I'm just put in a quick little description. Are there any notes about the grouping? Is it a consistent language, or can you just add the languages included? And then if you can, as with any record, it's good to include dates. If you have a range of dates represented by the objects in the group, I recommend that you add the sortable date being the earliest year. So let's just say that the first postcard or photograph that you know is 1946. And then your date of original, you could have a range in here if you like. And don't forget to add your earliest and latest years as well. So once you've added that kind of descriptive information, you may want to add geographic if there's something that is consistent across the collection that's in this group. If not, you can add multiple locations. And again, these are points of access to the group record. So if your records already have a full set of subject headings, a full set of geographic information, a full set of dates, you may feel that this is redundant, but what this is doing is bringing back people to your group record, which then provides them access to the contents of that group. So just keep that in mind as you're going forward, and don't dismiss the group record as being redundant. It does actually provide a good envelope for discovering the contents of your groups. Now, the thing with groups as well is that you can have them as a subgroup. So if you had a file cabinet of vertical files and you have a group called vertical files, that's your umbrella group, you could have each folder be a separate group if you like, but then have it as part of your vertical files overarching. And that way you can sort of describe the structure, and there'll be reciprocal links between each group record. So we could say that this is going to be part of our Green Family Postcard Collection. And once you move into links, again, if you want the group record to link out to something specific, you can add a link here. And if you decide that you don't want to have this group record at all, you can delete it on this screen. If there are items included in this group, this will not allow you to delete from here. You won't be able to delete this record. Right now, this is an isolated record. so I could delete it. But I will not. I'll just let you see this as it is. And then lastly, we'll move into, I'll show you a group that's actually been built out so that you can see how things look when you have group content as well. So that's how you add a new group and use the full record to describe the group and provide points of access to the contents of that group in a different way from the records themselves. The records themselves are about the objects that you're describing individually. The group record is about that collection as a whole, sort of the intention or the theme or other points of access that can provide more context and more content for people to discover your subcollections.